These are the famous Alden 405s, otherwise known as the Indy boot. Of course made famous by Harrison Ford in the Indiana Jones movies. So today we're gonna make a few changes to this iconic boot by upgrading a few of the materials and components to make it truly worthy of Indiana Jones, while keeping the classic look intact so that Dr. Jones could just as easily wear them in the classroom as he could running away from bad guys. So let's get started making the true Indiana Jones boot. And first things first, let's yank the laces out of there. These laces are fine, nothing special about them, nothing horrible about them, but they're just a classic cotton lace, so we'll be replacing those later. So onto the heel stack. The original Alden Indies come with the heel stack made of a leather board or a reconstituted leather. Leatherboard is similar to a cardboard in the sense that it is ground up leather fibers that are then mixed and pressed together to form a leather-like material. Leatherboard is not as durable as a full grain leather, and it will separate and fall apart much faster than a full grain leather. So we'll be replacing it with some high quality full grain leather so Indiana Jones can trust his heel stack not to fall off when running away from a giant boulder. So moving on to the outsole. The outsole on the original Aldens is really flat with no tread at all. Though this type of outsole is fine walking around the city or in classrooms, it doesn't offer much grip for Indy when he's sliding under stone doors or fighting swordsmen in the desert. So we're going to rip this off and replace it with something a little bit more better suited to the wild world of treasure hunting, or even better, we'll replace it with something that belongs in a museum. And of course we got to replace the leatherboard midsole. Again, leatherboard just isn't as durable as a nice full grain piece of leather, which will give you a nice footprint once broken in and offer more longevity and comfort. And then onto the shank. The original shank is actually a very nice, sturdy rib steel shank. The only issue with this is because the thin split grain insole is so flimsy that the shank presses up through the insole, creating a pressure point near the ball of the foot during that initial heel strike when you're walking. And now moving on to the original welt. The original Aldens come with a 270 Goodyear welt, which is a super popular and classic construction. There really isn't anything terribly bad about this style, but we'll be upgrading the welt with a sturdier, more weatherproof method later on. Something a little bit better suited for Indy and all his wacky adventures. Next, we're ripping out the old split grain leather insole. Split grain insoles offer less durability than a full grain leather and are generally less quality overall. Split grain leather is the portion of leather remaining after higher quality leather pieces have been cut to their desired thicknesses. The top part of the leather that has the grain structure is used in higher quality products, while the split portions without the grain are used as a cheaper alternative. Using the old insole as a template, we are making a new channeled insole out of a thick oak bark tanned leather. We're using this thick oak bark tanned leather so that we have enough material to get a nice footprint once broken in. It's also rigid enough to support the shank without it pressing through the insole and creating that pressure point. And because this leather is so sturdy and thick, it's often really difficult and even maybe dangerous to cut by hand. So we cut everything and trim everything on our cool old 3-in-1 cutter that we picked up from Walrus Shoe and Leather Co. up in Wisconsin. Okay, so now some context around the channeled insole. Not only is this insole much thicker, it also has the full grain, making it much more durable. Because this new insole is thicker, we are able to cut a channel into it, allowing the welt and upper to be attached directly with thread. This makes the use of the gemming, which is that little ribbed cloth piece that the welt uses to attach the insole to the upper, unnecessary, as the channeled insole achieves the same purpose but offers much more durability and longevity, as it is all held together with stitching and not just glue as the gemming is otherwise. In fact, the Drifter 2.0, our collab with White's Boots, is hand sewn in this exact same way pretty much, and White's is one of the last boot makers in the US doing this on a relatively large scale, so don't miss out on the release of the Drifter 2.0 coming out next month. Sign up for the limited edition email list, which will give you all the details and information you'll need. We'll be sure to link that down below in the description. And here you can see Taylor channeling the insole by hand because unfortunately we don't have a machine to do it. They do make hand tools, certain types of knives that are better suited for this process, and there are also old school machines designed to do it as well, but they are super pricey and are getting quite difficult to find. So if you guys have any of these machines, let us know. We'd be glad to take it off your hands. And then moving on to the eyelets, here we're pulling out all the original ones. They're really pretty thin and sharp, and after wearing for a while, they started cutting and fraying the laces. So the new eyelets we'll put in later will also help close up the holes to keep more dirt and debris out than these original eyelets. Obviously, we can't have Indy running around with frayed laces and untied boots, so these will also be getting upgraded. And then to the tongue gusset, you'll notice that the original Aldens do not have a tongue gusset at all. The reason a gusseted tongue is helpful is it keeps out dirt, debris, and water to some degree from getting inside your boots. So we are cutting the tongue out and stitching on a nice supple thin leather to be a gusset. The reason we are using a thinner, more supple leather is because the gusset needs to be able to fold around the foot and allow the tongue to be cinched down tightly and comfortably. So now Taylor will set the new hiker style eyelets. These eyelets are nice because instead of just a hole in your upper, which is essentially what an eyelet is, these are sealed and they have rings instead of holes. It allows the laces to lay a little bit flatter over the tongue, and it just generally keeps more water, dirt, debris out of your boots. It's always fun watching Taylor work his magic. It really blows me away how good he is at what he does, and half the time we don't have the right tools or the right setup to make something, and he figures it out anyway and makes it happen. It's super cool to watch. And here Taylor is prepping the new 360-degree Norwegian storm welt. A storm welt is similar to a regular Goodyear welt in that it attaches the upper of the boot to the insole with a stitch line. The difference is that a storm welt is then flared out and an additional line of stitching attaches the welt to the midsole. This is a sort of hybrid construction of the Goodyear welt method and the stitch down method, essentially taking the best parts of each and combining them. Because of the extra stitching, storm welts are very sturdy and more water and debris proof than other construction methods. And now Taylor is tracing out the shape for our new filler layer to replace the cork. We are going with a nice thick slab of leather as the filler instead of the cork, because unlike cork, leather won't crumple up and move around underfoot, creating pressure points. This leather layer will stay put while also allowing for more comfort and durability than the cork. And now we can glue down the new carbon fiber shank to replace the original steel one. With this lighter shank in the boot and with the thicker insole, filler, and midsole layers, the problem of the shank creating a pressure point under the ball of the foot should be remedied. Not to mention Indy can now go through an airport without setting off the metal detectors. And now you can see that instead of the thin leatherboard midsole in the original boot, we're adding a nice thick vegetable tan leather midsole. And like I mentioned before, a full grain leather is far superior to leatherboard, offering more durability and just generally a higher quality overall. With the midsole glued and stitched down, we can now add the upgraded outsole. We decided on the Vibram Arctic Grip outsole, which is designed to grip in snow and ice, and it has decent treads on it, so will offer more grip in every situation. This way Dr. Jones doesn't have to worry about slipping into a snake pit. It's just overall better outsole, more suited to the adventurous lifestyle of an archaeologist, professor, treasure hunter, tomb raider. Here we are gluing and nailing down the new full grain, full leather heel stack. Once we had cut in half the Alden for Weston's initial review on the Anvil main channel, we noticed that the heel stack layers were an even worse material than leatherboard. It's more like a fiberboard or paper-like material. So we'll get this way better full grain leather glued down, then add some threaded nails down through the leather heel stack, as well as some finishing brass nails through the heel top lift to keep everything nice and tight. And now to the finishing touches. Here we're quickly beveling the edges with our Weaver leather edge beveler, and like I mentioned earlier, all of the tools and machines we use will be linked in the description, so check them out if you're looking to start modifying your own stuff. So after the edge bevel, we'll finish the sole layers with Fibing's brown edge dressing. This will add some nice color and clean up the look for the final boot. And then of course, lastly, we'll add some quick Bic 4 leather conditioner to keep the leather looking nice and healthy. We like Bic 4 because it's a light conditioner and doesn't darken the leather as much as other conditioners, balms, and oils do. Then a quick burnishing brush to work the conditioner in, and then we can add the new laces and see how the true Indiana Jones boots turned out. And like always, huge thanks for your support on this channel as well as our other channels. This Builds channel is a fun way to explore some new ideas and content, and we appreciate your support as we continuously learn and grow in our abilities and knowledge. Also, huge props to Taylor, our in-house bootmaker. Without him and his skills, we literally couldn't make the things we do. If you want more Alden content, check out our reviews on Anvil and Anvil 2. And if you want to see more wacky modifications to boots and shoes, subscribe to the channel so you can be notified of new videos and so we can continue to make the content you guys want to see. We've got some cool cool new builds in the works, like a tool belt boot and a toe knife boot, along with many others, so be on the lookout for those. And like always, thanks a bunch, guys. We'll see you in the next one.